Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Here to do your intuitive reading for January 2021. So we made it. We made it to the new year. We made it through 2020. And we're now here to see what this beautiful year has to offer us. So for this monthly intuitive reading, we will be using the Syrian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha for the main message for everyone. And your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, will be coming from a brand new deck that I got over the holidays 2020. And it is called the Lantern Oracle by Angelina Mirabito, if I'm saying that last name correct. So let's go ahead and look at what your stones of choice are for this month, and then we'll get into talking about the energies. So your first stone of choice is a beautiful carnelian heart. I didn't write too much as far as descriptions down for each of these stones because I want you to use your intuition. I want you to use how you feel when you see the stone. I can tell you, though, as some of you probably already know, that the carnelian relates to the sacral chakra. It's that beautiful, vibrant orange color of the sacral chakra, which deals with creative self-expression and passion. Okay, your second stone of choice, I dug through some of my crystals that are still packed away, and I found this beautiful apophyllite wand. Now apophyllite, it looks like quartz crystals, but apophyllite has a slightly different vibration, but still in all it relates just like clear quartz does to the crown chakra, okay? So we're talking about opening our crown chakra to higher spiritual awareness, our ability to receive kind of higher insights and higher wisdom, and of course the significance too of the heart versus the wand also has its own suggestions to it, right? And then your third stone of choice is a pair of lapis merkaba. These are smaller stones. I was looking for bigger stones, but then I thought, you know what? I'm going to use this pair of merkaba, which are both lapis. And the lapis, of course, is going to relate to our third eye. So this is about clear insight, clear perception, clairvoyance. You know, our psychic sights and abilities here are with that dark blue of the lapis. So we have that carnelian heart, if you will. You know, we could also say this is that, right? Heart chakra, love, compassion. We have the apophyllite wand, which can be said to bring in some magical energies. And then the lapis merkaba. See if you can get a good, clear picture of the shape of the merkaba. In essence, they are two triangles intersected in a third dimensional way with one another. And this kind of has that idea or quality of as above, so below. Okay, so those are your stones of choice to think about. Now, let's talk about the astrology. Well, actually, before we get into the astrology, we want to talk about the numerology vibration. So let's touch base on the numerology vibration of 2021 before we get into what the month of January actually is. Now, we went through that whole year of 2020 with that 4 universal year vibration, which is one of more limitation and restriction and needing to stay grounded and focused and have patience and perseverance and determination. And boy, oh boy, did we have to have all of those, right? The number 4 that 2020 added up to can bring about some earthly challenges or issues regarding third dimensional time, meaning things that are kind of more dense, if you will. And we really dealt with a lot of those energies in 2020. But now 2021, if you add that up, we're going to get a 5 vibration. And the 5 is much different than the 4. The 4 is structure, form, again, kind of being in that box of limitation and restriction, not thinking outside the box. The number 5 now is about freedom, redirection, change, new opportunities. It is the opportunity to connect with new people, new places, new things, to free yourself from old limitations of the past or the past year, and to move into redirecting and changing your life towards wherever it is that you want to go, whatever direction it is you want to move towards. So that number 5 sometimes can be a little chaotic and can bring in some anxiety energies or nervous energies, or it can bring in this idea or energy of a lot going on, a lot happening. It's sort of like a roller coaster ride as far as the number 5. So it's definitely unlike the 4 in that way, where it gets more busy, it gets more active. But sometimes there's so many things going on, so many directions that we're being pulled into, or so many possibilities, potentials, or opportunities that are displayed to us, that sometimes it's confusing and difficult to know which way do I actually go, what decision do I actually make. So know that at least we have some potentials, at least we have some possibilities, and we have this idea of needing again to free ourselves or be free to move forward in a glorious way. I think this is going to be, to me, I am very hopeful of what the year 2021 is going to bring. So that's the year, universal year in a nutshell. Now the month of January, which is the first month of the year, is a 6 universal month vibration. If you take that 5 universal year of 2021, you add it to January, the first month, it equals a 6. And that 6 vibration of January brings in that balance of as above, so below. If you think about a 6-pointed Star of David, which is the geometric shape for the number 6, we're thinking of in 2 triangles, an upward pointing triangle that has 3 points, a downward pointing triangle that has 3 points. You intersect them, and so it's this kind of balance of the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. And that balance can be on a collective level, but also on a personal level within yourself. So how do we balance the divine masculine and the divine feminine in January? We are balancing the idea of being receptive and allowing and having trust and faith and being intuitive and being creative, which is all that divine feminine energy. And we're balancing that with right action, which is the masculine, the positive masculine energy, which is making decisions and taking right action or action based on whatever decisions, based on what it is that you're looking for. So it's that, again, that kind of equal back and forth, that harmonious back and forth of take an action, surrender, allow, make a decision, listen, intuit. So this is going to be a nice dance throughout the year. The number 6 can also indicate a couple of things. It can indicate the balance of work and who you are out in the world with home and family, or who you are on an internal level as well. And I also want to give you the indication of what tarot card this vibrates to as well. So I want to back up and show you, first of all, the card that vibrates to the universal year of 2021 is the 5th Major Arcana. And the 5th Major Arcana, so this is again for the year, is in this deck called Guidance. This is the Syrian Starseed Tarot. Now the traditional card, or the traditional 5th Major Arcana, is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is looking for answers or guidance with a spiritual authority figure, or someone who's an authority on whatever it is you're looking for answers in. In this particular deck, the 5th Major Arcana is called Guidance, and you can see that there's an indication here that rather than looking outside of ourselves to a spiritual authority for answers or for information or for guidance, we're looking for that guidance within ourselves. We have the representation here of the Buddha energy, okay? And Buddha is all about really going within, meditation, contemplation, going within, and finding your own inner teacher, finding your own inner guidance, finding your own inner answers. And we do have a sphinx head here up above Buddha, kind of up in the heavens, up in the sky, if you will. This to me is an indication of connecting with our ancestors. It doesn't necessarily mean Egyptian ancestors, but it can be. This is about connecting with our ancestors or those times past, that information that we have gained throughout several previous lifetime experiences, right? Sort of like tapping into the Akashic records, right? We're going within, finding that guidance within ourselves, but we're tapping into that ancient knowledge. This is to me what this is representing. The ancient knowledge, the ancient teachings, the ancient wisdom, the Akashic records from lifetimes that we've lived past, our ancestors, spiritual ancestors. And through the combination of these things, we're going to be receiving the guidance that we're seeking for 2021. Now, for January, since this is the monthly reading for January, the 6th Major Arcana is the Lovers. And the Lovers, you know, I think that relationships in various ways is going to be highlighted for January. Now, this can be not only romantic relationships, but this can be business relationships, family or friendship relationships. You know, this is, to me, about some one-on-one relationships that are going to come to the forefront. They're going to come into focus. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that some of us may have been throughout 2020, and maybe even beyond that, going backwards in time, we may have struggled with relationship challenges or issues. And it's, you know, it's really time to focus on sorting those out. Now, we are in a year of freedom, but that doesn't mean we have to free ourselves from those people in our lives that we love. But we do have to free ourselves from old patterns, old subconscious patterns, old ways of operating within the relationship, because as a unit, again, whether it's friendship, family, business, or romantic relationships, those relationships as a unit are evolving, just like we as an individual are evolving, just like the planet, Earth Mother Gaia, is evolving. We're all evolving, and we're all moving from lower to higher vibrational energies or higher dimensional energies. And so here too, our relationships have to transform. Our relationships have to evolve. We have to free ourselves from the old way of operating within these relationships and be able to free ourselves from those old patterns in order for the relationship to be able to move along smoothly or be in harmonious balance. Also, you know, some of you, I think, are maybe ready to kind of release or free yourself from a relationship. Others of you perhaps are looking for that soulmate or that twin flame. So again, however this is panning out for you in regards to relationship, and it also to me is about, again, business relationship, okay, or other types of relationships. This is about seeking out people, because now that we're in this true Aquarian age with Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, Mercury is going to be going into Aquarius here in the month of January. The Sun during the month of January will be going into Aquarius. This is about coming together with people of like mind, with a common goal or a common ideal to make the world a better place, or to create something good for humanity, or for, you know, at least the group of people that you are serving in some way, shape, or form. So this idea of the Lovers is connecting with other people, seeking out new friendships, seeking out business partnership potentials, seeking out those people that you can network with that is on an equal and harmonious level to you. And I don't necessarily mean that, you know, that everybody isn't worthy. Everyone is worthy. But are we operating with the same values? Are we operating towards the same end goal in mind, at least in a general sense? Those are the people that we're wanting to seek out here in this month of January, especially. The other thing that the Lovers card is telling us for January is to find that partnership within ourselves, right? The divine masculine and the divine feminine within ourselves. It's about coming into partnership with our higher soul self. It's about coming into partnership with the divine, with universe, with God source energies. This is also what the Lovers to me is portraying for the month of January. So now let's talk about the astrological highlights for the month of January. We have some planetary shifts going on. Of course, we have a new and a full moon that we'll touch on. On the 6th of January, okay, on the 6th of January, we have Mars, the warrior, Mars, the planet of energy and action, will be moving into Taurus. Now, if you remember, way back in 2020, somewhere in the summertime of 2020, Mars actually went into his home sign of Aries, but then he went retrograde, he slowed his energies down, and then he turned back to direct motion, and then he had to pick up speed. So he stayed in Aries for quite some time, and that's again his home sign. He's very at home there, and typically Mars in Aries would be fast forward movement because we have a fire planet, Mars, and a fire sign, Aries. But because of that retrograde motion, which again, before turning retrograde, he slowed down. As he turned back to go direct motion or forward, he slowed down. So he was kind of in the slow movement for a good portion of the time that he was in Aries. Now that Mars is moving into Taurus, and he will stay in Taurus not quite as long as he did in Aries because there won't be a retrograde movement, but he's going to be there until March 3rd, okay? So almost 2 months Mars will be in Taurus, and Taurus is an earth sign. It's practical, it's grounded, it's stable, it's persistent, it's determined, it's patient, and it's slower moving. Earth is kind of more of a dense element than fire, which is Aries. Aries is fire. Fire is more, changeable, mutable, excitable, and Earth is more stable and grounded and practical. So we're going to have forward movement with Mars and Taurus, but it's going to be slow, practical, step-by-step forward movement. So look for these first couple of months of the year to be a little bit more steady paced and not necessarily jumping really quick or really fast or making fast strides while it's in that sign of Taurus. On the 8th of January, we have 2 planets changing signs, and one of those is going to be Mercury, the planet of the mind that rules our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions, and our communications. And Mercury is going to be moving out of Capricorn, which is a practical, goal-oriented earth sign, and it's going to be moving into Aquarius. So now we have Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury in Aquarius. And typically Mercury only stays in a sign for about 3 or so weeks, but it's going to be in the sign of Aquarius for an extra long time because it's going to go into a retrograde motion towards the end of this month of January, which we'll get to a little later as far as when the date of that starts. Now, Mercury being, again, kind of an air planet, because air rules thoughts, ideas, and communications, and that's what Mercury rules. Going into Aquarius, Aquarius is an air sign. So Mercury in Aquarius is going to be pretty happy here. It's going to be full with these futuristic ideas and new technological advances and inventions or channeling information or energies. It's going to be kind of coming into those aha moments, coming together again with people of like mind to collaborate, and how can we do something for the betterment of humanity, because Aquarius is the sign that rules humanity. It's the humanitarian, okay? And it looks for a way to make things better, and it looks for a way to collaborate with others to make things better. It doesn't want to do it by itself. So Mercury in Aquarius for this extra long time, and it's going to be there until the 15th of March. So a little over 2 months that we get Mercury in Aquarius. And even though retrograde, we always think of retrograde, oh boy, what's going to happen? Things are going to be messed up, communications are going to be messed up, and travel and all that kind of stuff. And there might be some of that because it is Mercury retrograde at the end of the month. But it also gives us an extra long time to collaborate and to come up with new possibilities, new ideas. Again, both in our personal lives, but also on a collective level. The other planet that changes signs on the 8th of January is Venus. And Venus rules love, relationships, and partnerships of all kinds. and it rules our values, and it rules our personal resources, and so this includes money and finances. It's going to be moving out of freedom-oriented, inspirational Sagittarius, and it's going to be moving into more practical, grounded, goal-oriented Capricorn. Again, Capricorn is an earth sign. So she's going to be more practical within her relationships, more grounded in her relationships, more focused and goal-oriented regarding money matters, financial matters, or matters of personal resources. She's just going to be more practical in general while she's in this sign. And Venus will be in Capricorn until it looks like it's February. It's early February. I can't quite read my writing, but it's early February. So she's not going to be there too long, just about a month or so, which is her typical movement through a sign of the zodiac. The next thing of significance, actually, we jump all the way to our new moon, and that's going to be on the 12th or the 13th of January, depending on what part of the world you're in. And that new moon is going to be at 23 degrees of Capricorn. So new moons are about new beginnings. It's not an eclipse. We're done with eclipses until we get to May of 2021 is when the next set of eclipses start. But this new moon of new beginnings focuses in on the area of Capricorn, which is, again, our career path, life path, destiny path, our sense of inner authority, our sense of taking charge, of working towards our goals, of manifesting our ambitions. This is all what this new moon can be about as far as planting these new seeds of new beginnings. This new moon at 23 degrees of Capricorn also connects to Pluto, powerful Pluto, which is around that degree of Capricorn. So Pluto is about power, empowerment, or disempowerment, power and control issues sometimes, but it's about death and rebirth, transformation, regeneration. So this is going to be a powerful new moon because it's connecting to Pluto. So look for ways to move into your power, to plant the seeds of your own power, to empower yourself, have a new beginning by empowering yourself within a situation or circumstance or relationship, or within your own self in regards to a belief system or an energy pattern. The next thing of significance actually happens the day or two after that new moon, and that's on the 14th of January. This is pretty important because it is Uranus, the Great Awakener, turning back to direct motion. Now Uranus, as the Great Awakener, he rules sudden and unexpected movement. He rules surprises. He rules technology. He rules astrology as well. He rules scientific advances, things that can make the world a better place. It rules energy too, like electrical energy. So in other words, this can rule like free energy, scientific advances, new ways of doing things or operating in the world. It's bringing in, again, this new, higher, more beneficial way of operating. And Uranus is the planet of freedom as well. It's radical movement, it's freedom, it's redirection, it's the aha moment, it's the ability to open the crown chakra and channel information and ideas. So as it's slowing down the first half of the month to turn back to direct motion, on the 14th, it's going to intensify the energies of what Uranus rules, which is all that I just described to you. Now, Uranus is in Taurus, so it's a little bit more grounded. You know, a few years ago, Uranus was in Aries for 7 years, and that was a little bit more intense because Aries is a fire sign. But this, this is kind of a grounded earth sign placement for Uranus. And Uranus is kind of an air planet. In other words, it sort of rules that mental realm, the higher mental realm. Mercury rules our lower mental realm, the lower mental body, our ego mind. And Uranus rules the higher God mind. So again, it's still in that area of inspirational thought and new ideas. But that Taurus energy, where it's placed, it's going to ground it a little bit. So even the surprises and the redirections might not be as intense as they might be in some other sign of the zodiac, but still look for changes, freedom, redirection, surprises to occur around that time. And on the 17th, Jupiter connects with Uranus, right? So Jupiter Jupiter is in the sign of Aquarius, the sign that Uranus naturally rules. And here Uranus is kind of at a standstill, making his energies more intensified and powerful. And Jupiter, having just gone into Aquarius, is now going to be challenging or in a square aspect to Uranus. Now, even though it's a challenging square aspect, I still think good things can come of this. And the reason why is because Jupiter is the planet of blessings. Jupiter is known as the Great Benefic. Jupiter rules expansion. So I feel like we're going to make a big expansion into this new way of thinking, or these new ideas, or these new thoughts from a higher dimensional level. I feel like there can be something really great that we're expanding into, but for some it might feel a little challenging. This can be, again, on a collective level as well as a personal level. On the 20th, well, actually, okay, on the 17th, this is when Jupiter connects with Uranus. On the 19th, the Sun moves into Aquarius. So now we have the Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn all in Aquarius, which is a lot of wonderful Aquarius energy as far as humanitarian endeavors. On the 20th, Mars, the activator, Mars, the warrior and activator planet, connects with Uranus, who again is still intensified in his energies because he's sort of at a standstill at 6 degrees of Taurus. So Mars is going to activate something. That, with Jupiter squaring Uranus, is going to really activate some sort of expansion energy, I believe. And again, probably more in the realm of communications, networking, new ideas, etc. The next thing of significance is on the 28th of January, where we have a full moon at 9 degrees of Leo. And this full moon at 9 degrees of Leo is going to be opposing the Sun and Jupiter. The Sun shines its light on something and highlights something. Jupiter expands energies, expands something. And they're both in Aquarius, which again rules that kind of higher futuristic way of thinking, new ideas, etc. The full moon brings things to an intensity on an emotional level, but also in other areas of our lives. It can actually, bring things to a head, so to speak. And then, of course, after the full moon, we're in that waning phase of the moon where we're needing to release, heal, let go, purge, transmute. And so I feel like that's going to be, again, another powerful lunation, that full moon, because it's opposing the Sun and Jupiter. I feel like it can be powerful and positive. Leo, creative self-expression, opposing Sun and Jupiter in Aquarius, creative inspiration of the mind, creative inspiration of new ideas. That's the way I look at that. And then on the 30th, right at the end of the month here, this is when Mercury turns to retrograde motion at 26 degrees of Aquarius. So it doesn't leave the sign of Aquarius when it goes retrograde. It goes retrograde in Aquarius, and when it retrogrades back, it only retrogrades back to, I think it's 11 degrees of Aquarius, if I'm not mistaken, and then turns back forward. So that Mercury retrograde, it actually starts to be in its shadow on the 15th of January, so start to look for miscommunications and all that typical Mercury retrograde stuff starting mid-month. But again, this gives us a longer time period, an opportunity here to utilize that power of the higher mind and the ability to be inspired and come up with new possibilities and channel information or messages from the higher realms. So I think that's rather exciting. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the message from your angels and guides. And we looked at those cards there. So now we have 3 cards, actually 4 cards for the message for the month. The first card that came out by itself. And it started out with Major Arcana 21. So in the traditional tarot, this is the World card, the last of the Major Arcana. In this deck, it's called Ascension. And isn't the symbology interesting? Because we have a woman holding the earth. And with this woman holding the earth, and the key word here for the World card being Ascension, and we're moving into this brand new year's energy of 2021 after a very challenging energy of 2020. I feel like this recent Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius that we had on the winter solstice, December 21st, 2020, this is really what this is talking about, that we're all moving towards ascension. As individuals, we're moving towards ascension. As a collective, we're moving towards ascension. The Earth Mother herself is moving towards ascension. And maybe this is all interconnected with the cosmos too. Maybe there's other planets, other universes, other star systems. Maybe they're all going through an ascension process, as we're all interconnected in some way, shape, or form. So I feel like as we start this new year and we are in this new month of January, the first month of the year, there's a message here that we're moving into a higher form of ascension, or higher energy of ascension, that we're focusing on our ascension process as a collective, and not, again, only for ourselves, but for the Earth as well. And that's part of the Aquarian energy that we're in with those 4 planets this month. That's part of the age of Aquarius, because Aquarius, again, rules groups of people, groups of like mind. It rules the collective of humanity. And we're all kind of interconnected to a point that it's not just about our ascension. Our ascension is humanity's ascension. The collective ascension is Earth Mother Gaia's ascension. So we're all operating in this ascension in the same way and at the same time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next card that came out. And this card came out as 2 separate cards, or 2 cards came out. The first of the 2 cards is the Seeker of Crystals. The Seeker of Crystals. This is like the page in the traditional tarot, and the crystal suit is like pentacles or earth. So this is the page of earth, or the page of pentacles. Pages are always about communication, information, or messages. And so here we're seeking information of a practical nature. Okay, crystals again is earth or pentacles. So we're seeking information that's practical. We're seeking messages regarding these practical areas of our life, like our career, like our money, like our finances, like our home family situation. All those things that are tangible are part of the crystals or the earth suit. So this is about listening to the messages of a practical nature, messages that might be coming from other people, organizations. This is about seeking information, again, on a practical level about your job, your career, your home, your family, your money, your finances. And this is kind of about listening to what those messages are. It almost looks like she's looking into a crystal ball. It looks like there's a dragon within that crystal ball. So we definitely have our angels and guides here, that if we connect to them, they will be also giving us these messages. So not just practical message, but also spiritual messages as well. Now the card that came out with that, let's see what that is. Okay, we have the 3 of Flames. This is like the 3 of Fire, or the 3 of Wands or rods in the traditional tarot. The number 3 numerologically is about expansion, just like Jupiter is the planet of expansion. And we talked about Jupiter being significant this month. And I feel like there's expansion here into that fire element, which is the spiritual realm. And it's also creative energy. So we're expanding into creative energy. We're expanding into creative potential. We're expanding into the higher spiritual energies. There's an energy of, to me, it's a number of birth too. The number 3. It's kind of like giving birth to something new, right? Which is that expansion. If you think about a woman that gets pregnant, there's an expansion into something new. Her belly's expanding, so she's giving birth to something new, a new human. So this to me is also, again, the birth of some creative idea or creative potential, the birth of some, new spiritual energy that's coming into play. And it came with the Seeker of Crystals. So whatever this new idea is, whatever your new thoughts are, your new ideas, your new perceptions, you're giving birth and expanding into those and moving forward towards those. Her back is to us. So that means that, wherever she's facing, and she's kind of facing this 3rd flame up here, it's like she's standing in between these 2 inspirational, creative energies, and she's moving towards this 3rd one, which is a little bit higher, right? It's like higher and forward, and definitely this beautiful kind of flowing, creative, to me, this garment here is very flowing and colorful and creative. And it's the same with whatever your ideas and your thoughts and your perceptions are. It's moving forward and expanding into whatever this potential might be, right? Okay. Now let's take a look at the last card that came out for the month. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this is Major Arcana number 3. And in this deck, it's called Abundance. In the traditional tarot, you got it. It's the Empress. We just talked about the Empress giving birth. Now, this particular symbology on this card doesn't show the woman necessarily pregnant. She might be, but you can't really tell. But to me, this is like pregnant with potential. This is like the idea, again, of expansion, abundance, prosperity, and blessings. That's what the Empress card is all about. Prosperity, abundance, expansion, blessings, creative expansion. And look at here. She's got this, you know, just like the 3 flames here is forming a triangle. Okay, we got the number 3 for the triangle here. Major Arcana number 3, we've got the triangle here. So we definitely have this kind of support, this point up above is support from the universal realm, support from the spiritual realm, support from those of the higher dimensions. And whatever ideas or opportunities or information that they're giving to us from up above is then being channeled down into third dimensional form, and we're grounding it somehow. We're giving birth and expanding into this creative potential up here, and we're grounding it and manifesting it down on the earth plane here. So the number 3 to me has always been quite a magical number. I think it's my favorite number. And we also have this symbology within that triangle. It doesn't quite look like infinity symbol, but sort of, right here in the middle of the triangle. The infinity, which again is a nice balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies going on here. And she looks like quite a magical priestess, shaman sort of energy. Even though this isn't the priestess card, she still has that magical look to her. You know, again, she's magically giving birth to some sort of blessings of abundance. And this is within, again, the month of January. Now remember, when we give birth to something, it doesn't mean that it's totally manifested or at its peak point, right? When we give birth to a baby, it's not a full-grown human right away. So we're giving birth to something in January. We're giving birth to a new energy in January. We're starting this idea of expanding into abundance, prosperity, and blessings. But remember, it's most likely going to take time throughout this year of 2021. But this particular reading for January is very positive indeed, because we have that World card or the Ascension card, which usually means a completion of an energy and then a new beginning, right? It's the last of the Major Arcana, so we have this completion and getting ready for a new beginning, which is stepping into the new energy of 2021. We're focused on ascension and raising our vibration. We're seeking that information. We're seeking new ideas. We're putting those ideas into motion. We're creating and expanding colorfully into them. And that eventually is going to bring us this idea of a new birth of some sort, right? New birth in career, new birth in finances, new birth within home and family, new birth within your belief systems, your perceptions, within yourself and your personality and how you project yourself out into the world. I mean, what the birth is all about is definitely kind of an endless thing. It can be anything. But this is a very positive reading. So let's go ahead and take a look at your special message card depending on your stone of choice. So I already blessed these cards, and when I did the weekly reading, which is probably going to be up around the same time here, I also used a different new deck for that, and both of these new decks are blessed and purified and intentionized and everything else here. So the first stone was that carnelian heart. So we're just giving this a little shuffle and asking for the message for the carnelian heart people. Special message for carnelian heart. Okay, the one on the bottom is really calling my attention as I touch it. And it says perspective. I'm going to show it to you in a minute here. So it's number 39 perspective, and the number 3 is all about the mental realm and our thoughts, our ideas, and our perceptions or perspective. The number 9 of that 39 is, it rules kind of the higher spiritual realm, creative, artistic, spiritual realm. And so together, those numbers, you know, it's like the higher mind and the higher perceptions and again, your perspective. It says a calm and clear mind. A calm and clear mind is free to see, my goodness, these words are small, to see differently. Sorry about that. A calm and clear mind is free to see differently. So you can see here that this man is sitting on a hill. He's got a pair of binoculars. It looks like he's looking out at this lighthouse across the way here. And now, if he didn't have the binoculars, he would see one perspective of what that lighthouse is. And now that he's got the binoculars, he's able to see things more clearly, more close up. He's able to see it from a different perspective. And he's probably able to see the countryside by itself as well from a different perspective. So this, to me, is a message about, again, leaving the 2020 energies behind and what you thought was truth for you, or even what you thought was truth for the collective, that there might be something else going on that you can't yet see clearly. And there needs to be a shift in your belief system or your perception or perspective, and allow yourself to be open to a new way of viewing something, be open to a new way of believing about something. And that can include yourself as well. Whether it's a situation or whether it's something within yourself, be open to a new way of seeing, perceiving, believing, and adjust the perspective so that it's a more positive perspective. In other words, if there's challenges or if there has been some recent challenges, what, if any, you can find any good out of it? Like, what blessing did it give you? What gift of strength did it give you? What did it direct you to that was then really a blessing in disguise? And if you shift that perspective regarding these certain situations or events in your lives, it's going to allow you to see things from a higher perspective, a more clear perspective, as far as how to move forward or what your spiritual growth and evolution is all about. So that idea of sitting too, like being still, like not being so busy that you can't allow yourself to contemplate, to shift your perspective. I feel like you need to kind of have some downtime, and maybe even some away time, you know, going and taking a day trip or something like that out into nature specifically would be helpful, because nature and calm and peace and water and land and trees and all of that has a way of providing us with more of a sense of peace, balance, serenity, and then a more clear perspective on what's really happening. All right, for those of you that chose that apophyllite wand, special message for apophyllite wand. Okay, this one keeps calling my attention here in the middle of the deck when I open my eyes. It says intention, number 31, intention. The number 3 is about expansion and growth. The number 1 is you taking charge and making it happen. Together, 31 adds up to a 4. So whatever your intentions are, they can be made manifest. They will be made manifest. And it says here at the bottom, okay, it says, oh my goodness, what does it say? Guess it's time for glasses, huh? Lacking, you know what? Some of you maybe can read that. I'm just gonna go with my intuition. I'm looking at the picture of this wonderful, beautiful angel here. She's got this open crown chakra. This is actually going through her third eye chakra too. So this is more clarity. Her psychic senses are opening. Her crown chakra is opening. These higher spiritual intentions are coming down from universe, God source energy, great spirit. She's in her higher self because you can see she's got these beautiful angel wings, right? So she's not just in human form, but she's merging with her higher soul self, those higher dimensional energies. And she's got something, I almost didn't understand what that was that she was holding on to, but I think it's a scroll. I think she's kind of holding on to me. It would be like the Akashic records, right? It's like connecting with your own Akashic records, as far as gifts, talents, abilities, where you're supposed to go next in life, decisions you're supposed to perhaps make in yours and everyone's highest and best interest. It's like, what are your intentions? What are your goals? What do you want to manifest? Merge with your higher soul self, open up to that higher creative potential, connect with your own Akashic records, or this could also be just messages or information that you're needing to seek out somehow to gain a more, again, greater understanding of what it is that your intentions are all about. Lacking personal perfection. I'm trying to still read this. It talks about a game of chess. Something about, and I don't even know why it would be relating to a chess game. This would be to me about strategy. So what is your strategy to reach and manifest your intentions right now? Okay. And to me, this is also because this is the beginning of the year, the first month of 2021. You might want to do some sort of a vision board, or, creating something, writing something out, journaling something as far as what are your intentions for the year ahead. Okay. All right. And then for those of you that chose the Merkaba lapis, the pair of lapis Merkaba. Okay, so the special message for lapis Merkaba people. Special message. The one on the bottom is calling my attention. Repair, number 38. The number 3, that equals expansion. The number 8 is empowerment. So expansion into your empowerment. Together it adds up to master number 11, which reduces to a 2. So this to me is about relationships. We have a man and a woman here sitting together. They are a little older. Again, master number 11, or that lower vibrational 2, is all about self versus others, the balance, the harmony, the compromise within relationships, and the idea of repair, right? So to me it feels much like there's relationships in our lives that need to be repaired and tended to. Now, whether that's a romantic relationship, business, friendship, family relationship, maybe it's a relationship with your own self. Okay, maybe we need to repair the relationship with ourselves. Maybe we've lost ourselves, or lost the vision of who we are, or what we're here for. So whatever this is about relationship, it's time to repair it. It's time to fix it, if you will, to tend to it. To make some sort of, it actually says to make amends here. So you might need to make amends with some of the other people in your life. We just got done with holiday season, and maybe some of you didn't connect with certain people in your lives, whether in person, on phone, Zoom, etc. And maybe you're still reminiscing and thinking about those people. So it might be time to make that phone call, or write that email, or just in a higher soul self conversation, in other words, in meditation, connect with your higher soul self and have a conversation with their higher soul self if you need to ask for forgiveness, or offer, some sort of information communication with someone else, or if you're seeking answers, from someone, if you feel like someone should offer you forgiveness, perhaps in that spiritual higher soul self connection, it might be easier done. But there's something here about connecting with others, balancing with others, bringing things back into harmony with others, or again within yourself, doing some sort of repair, as it says, to create some sort of harmony, to create a cohesiveness here as they're working on this kind of quilt or blanket together, right? They're both working on something separately, but yet it's the same thing, okay? So you're working on yourself separately, they're working on their selves separately as far as our own inner wounds and challenges, but yet we're needing to work on the relationship together, okay? All right, everyone, thanks for hanging in there. Long video for the month, and I send you all lots of love and light. during this new year of 2021. I hope each and every one of you comes into new opportunities, new abundance, new prosperity, and new blessings that last the whole year through. So sending you lots of love and light for this month and always. Namaste.